Oh, that is too close. Hey. Welcome back to my channel. It's me. And today I'm going to be talking about some of my wishlist planties. And while I'm sort of overwhelmed with the state of my space and collection right now, I'm really interested in doing plant trades with people and connecting with people in the community, which has been really great recently, facilitating trades and talking to all of you on all of the different plant tube channels that people have, in the comment sections, in the lives that I'm finding. And so yeah, let's get into it. So it's now 2 hours later because I forgot to charge my camera last night. So this video is about my most recent wishlist plants, and as I was saying, I'm really interested in trading with people and connecting with people in the plant community in 2022. I'm going to get into my current wishlist plants that I likely don't have space for, and also my Planty goals for 2022. So let's get into it. So I keep like a running list in my notes app on my phone of like plants that I see in videos or plants that I really am excited about when I see them. And so the first plant that I want to talk about that I've been eyeing for probably almost a whole year is so it's called the string of nickels, or Dischidia nummularia, and I really am obsessed with this plant because it has these like succulent leaves. It almost looks like a what is it called? A peperomia hope, which I also have. But I haven't like had a crazy amount of growth with that plant and haven't really been that excited by it. And I only came across the peperomia hope recently as sort of like a placeholder for the string of nickels, Dischidia nummularia. And something about this plant makes me really excited because of how full it can get, but also how like juicy the leaves are. And I used to be someone that was really into the string of pearls plant until I realized that it's just like super duper unmanageable and not easy to care for. And like I had a string of pearls, killed it, didn't go well, but I just really liked the look of it and how juicy it was, and I just sort of fell into finding plants that have long stringy succulent leaves but aren't the string of pearls. And so that's how I found the string of nickels, and it feels like a really hard plant to find like a full basket of. Like the full baskets of string of nickels end up being like $39 on Etsy, which is like, in the scheme of like uncommon or rare plants, which kind of is, kind of isn't. I don't really know where this would fall. It's not that much money, but in terms of like, I guess I'm just not really one to import plants anymore, because last winter I imported a lot of plants and had them lost in the mail, or like they just didn't make it. And so I've really been trying to buy from local nurseries, trade with people I know, or meet new people to trade with. I haven't yet shipped plants to trade yet. It's also something I want to try, even though I'm nervous about packaging it correctly and like the plant being able to like make it through the shipment in different conditions and temperatures. Anyways, I'm getting really off track. Wishlist plant, string of nickels. I really just want a full basket of this plant. like I feel like I don't want a cutting of this plant, which is sort of going against my concept of trying to trade more this year. But anyway, so that's my number one wishlist plant. I'm not gonna go in like any order of like how much I want them, but I think that one is definitely on the top of my list. So another one that came up for me when I was looking at the string of nickels is the Dischidia dragon, or I think it's called Jade Dragon. And I was just like, I've never seen anything that looks like this. This is so freaking cool. And another thing that I found on Etsy, which used to be somewhere that I would shop for plants a lot, but after having like a couple experiences where things took a really, really long time to ship, I realized like maybe it's not the best platform to buy plants on. No shade to people that sell plants on Etsy. I think I just really scared myself last year when I have a bunch of plants that got stuck and then they died. Dischidia Jade Dragon. Yeah, that might not be the right name, but I'm just gonna put it up here. I'll correct myself if it's not the right name in the bottom. But yeah, I think Dischidia is like a really underrated genus, and I think that it's a cool alternative to Hoya varieties, because Hoya has been getting super popular and people have really been getting into Hoyas, or have been into Hoyas for a long time. I personally used to think that all Hoyas look the same, except for the compacta, which, spoiler, I'm going to talk about later. But yeah, there's a Dischidia that I'm going to put up on the screen that really just kind of reminds me of a Hoya curtisii that like has also always been like a really cool plant that I'm interested in. It's called rustifolia, which is similar to the Hoya curtisii that I'm into. I just love the way that the leaves are shaped, and I just love trailing plants that look really full, but not like full foliage wise, but like the strands have just so many different like succulent like leaves or petals or leaves. Like I like it to be really thick and full. And so yeah, the dragon Dischidia came up for me. That's just what it's been called on Etsy. I don't actually know what the real name is for it. I should probably look that up. Yes, I recently did a trade for a Cebu Blue pothos cutting, which I was really happy about because that was on my wish list for a really long time. I just really love how it looks like blue or turquoise or whatever the color is, and it's just a cutting, so it hasn't really taken off yet. I'll put a picture right there. But I'm really excited about that because I've been wanting one for a long time, and I'm hoping it gets to be really big and bushy. And so the third plant that I have my eye on is the Philodendron varicosum, or varicosum. I just really love this plant. I think the plant YouTuber Wildfern has made me really love this plant, and I kind of didn't really expect to. But I think what I really love about it, aside from the really hairy petioles, which are super freaking cool, I like how the neon and the dark contrast really work together, and I think that it's just such a cool plant because it can climb. And I think I've been more into like stakes than moss poles recently, but this plant makes me want to get more into moss poles again. That's another video that I'll talk about at some point. But yeah, Philodendron varicosum, I just think that it's really cool. I think that some of these plants haven't quite made it to stores yet. Even like the stores that I go to that have like semi-rare or uncommon plants, I don't think the varicosum or the gloriosum or splendid or majestic, any of those have not really made it to any of my local stores. And they seem like plants that you have to get online or import or etc, etc. But I think, yeah, I would really love in 2022 to get a varicosum, and whether that's a cutting or a plant or whatever, I think it would be really cool to have that. to put in my greenhouse in 2022. Wishful thoughts. Okay. That was so dry. So the next plant I want to talk about is a common plant for a lot of people, or a plant that a lot of people have, and that's the Hoya carnosa compacta. And the funny thing about this plant and my relationship to this plant is that I used to think it was ugly. Like I used to think that it was butt ugly, like ass ugly. Like I was kind of like, this looks like noodles, it looks like pasta noodles. It's just weird. But over time I've started to realize like how cool this plant is and how unique it is, because I feel like no two Hoya carnosa compactas are the same. And I think that's really cool. And while it would be really cool to have a variegated one, I think I would like to stick with a regular one, just because of how like the shade of green is just like so beautiful, and it seems like a really sturdy plant. And I think I have grown to have a really big appreciation for this plant, like not because of the blooms or because of the reasons that other people have it, but just because of how unique this plant is. And yeah, similarly, this seems like a common plant, but I honestly have not seen very many of these at nurseries or stores. So I think in 2022, that's another plant that I would really love to have in like a hanging basket. And yeah. This one sort of surprised me, and I'm kind of surprised that I have it on my wish list right now. And the plant that I'm thinking of is the Sansevieria starfish. And at first I was like, this plant is super weird. I don't really understand it. I don't understand the growth pattern. But recently I've just been really vibing with this plant. Like it really, to me, looks like a Pokemon. It's just so cool. And it feels like a sculpture. It feels like a piece of art. Like it doesn't feel like a plant. And I think that I've just seen people with some really cool Sansevieria starfish. And I'm not that huge into Sansevieria or Dischidia, but I think that this plant is really cool. Like I honestly don't even know where I would put it. Like I'd like to put it on like a hanging shelf or something like that. But yeah, even though I say I don't like Sansevieria, recently my black coral snake plant shot out like 4 new blooms in the middle of winter, and I was like, these are so underrated. Like this is so cool. And they were actually like really smelly blooms too. Like my partner was like, what is that smell? Like this is really bizarre. Like it's super fragrant. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked once again. There are like a lot of other plants that I have been thinking about / could see myself having, but I think some of them are like, it's not that they're unattainable, but I think it's just that everyone has them. Like, of course I'm interested in having a Philodendron gloriosum. You know, I have thought about like getting a white princess or a white wizard or a white knight, but I think recently, now that I've had a pink princess, I just really can't get with the growing pattern. Like, no offense to you, but I just can't, like, I'm honestly scared every time I water this plant. And I'm scared, 1, because it costs a lot of money, but 2, because it's just such an irregular plant with an irregular growth pattern. Like, I never know when it's gonna put out a new leaf. Like, sometimes it won't put out a new leaf for like months, and then all of a sudden it puts out 3, and I'm just like, this is so wobbly and uneven. Like, this doesn't really look good with a pole. Like, it's sort of like a crown, like, shaped thing. Like, it's not a crawler. Maybe it is a crawler. I don't know, that differentiation is always confusing to me, because I'm like, crawlers sound like trailing plants. But anyways, if anyone can clarify that for me, that would be helpful. But I know that there's like a word for like philodendron varieties that like grow straight up and then they sort of like shoot out, versus philodendrons that like trail down. Or maybe I'm getting it wrong. Anyways, help me out there. But yeah, I guess what I'm saying is there were some other plants that I had on my wish list, but I think since recently learning more about them, I've decided like, I think I'm more interested in more common plants that aren't super expensive, hard to find, or like you run the risk of like importing from a place that you're unsure about, or like not like a place you're unsure about, but like you don't know where they got it, is really what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I mean, I think I've like, based on my like ability to buy things, but also based on my feelings about like the accessibility of rare plants, especially after seeing Plantme Ashley's video about plants and accessibility and like rare plants, I've really been leaning into like common plants and validating myself and being like, I don't need all of these rare plants to be a valid plant hobbyist, plant collector, plant enthusiast person. And so yeah, tagging on to my wish list section, some of my goals for 2022 when it comes to plants is that one, I want to do more trades, and I want to do more vending events for my brand, Plant Dad, and I want to, you know, I want to give my time to other people in ways, and I guess I'll get into it more, but I want to give my time in ways where I don't expect things in return. Like I want to give people my product, and I want to volunteer to help at events, like plant related events, vending events. Like I want to do these things just because I enjoy it and not because I need to make money from it. And I think that that is really what keeps my passion for plants alive. And yeah, so I'm currently applying to vend at an event locally. If you're in Philly, I can give you the information. I'll be selling plant hangers, plants, maybe some prints and zines like with plants on them. So if you're interested, let me know. So that's definitely a goal for me. I just really want to feel like tapped in to this plant community, because I've been raising and taking care of plants for over 6 years, but I feel like I've only really taken it seriously and wanted to be a part of the plant community in the past like 2 or 3 years. And so I just really want to tap into this community in different ways, and I've really been trying to interact with more people's videos on YouTube and like support other plant people and other influencers. And yeah, so I think bottom line, I really just want to like be helpful and like give other people my knowledge and share what I've learned and share things that I don't find on the internet that people don't always see, and like share my vulnerable experiences and my fails and just be present for this community. Yeah, and I guess my other goal too that I was thinking about is that I want to connect with other queer and LGBT plant people, because I feel like there is a lack of LGBTQ plant creators, plant YouTubers on YouTube, and I think that in my head, honestly, I can only think of 2 or 3 people that come to mind. And I think I'm just really hoping to see and to support a lot of minority or marginalized people in the plant community making content. Like I want to see more of that. I want to support that. I want to connect with people. I want to like support other local plant people in 2022. And yeah, if you know of an LGBTQ or BIPOC plant person, plant creator, I would love if you drop them in the comments below. I would love to support them. I would love to share their work with other people, other plant enthusiasts, and yeah. And so yeah, that's where I'm at. If you want to trade with me, I would love to talk about it. And you know, like leave comments below. What are your wish list plans? What are you looking to trade in 2022? What are your goals? And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. I'm a new video making content person, so every like and subscription really helps me right now and encourages me to keep going. I really appreciate it, and I really just love talking to all the people in this community and and how everyone shows up for each other, and I just really appreciate that. So yeah, like and subscribe to the video. I will put the names of the plants I talked about in the bio. You can also check out my Instagram and my website if you're interested in buying a plant hanger. Or yeah. Okay, bye.